Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. You know, we love to get into the really big questions here. And today, oh boy, we're diving into something that's pretty much universal: anxiety.
It's a big one, for sure.
You guys have sent in some truly fascinating articles and essays, sources really, that get into whether this feeling of anxiety is something new, like a sign of the times, or if it's just part of being human. Period.
That's the age-old question, isn't it? Nature or nurture?
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, the big question is, how does the world we live in now, this crazy 21st century, how does it affect our anxiety? So in this deep dive, we're going beyond just labeling the feeling. We really want to understand the roots of anxiety, both ancient and modern, and explore what actually helps us deal with it in a meaningful way, not just quick fixes or temporary escapes.
It's about getting to the core of it. What is this feeling? Where does it come from? And how do we actually navigate it in a world that often feels like it's designed to make us anxious?
Exactly. And as we were going through all of your sources, some really interesting questions came up, like, are we actually more anxious than people were hundreds of years ago? Or are we just more aware of it now, more willing to talk about it?
That's a great question. It really makes you think about how much societal norms and perceptions play into it.
Totally. And then there's the whole technology question. How is being constantly connected, the whole social media thing, how is that affecting our anxiety levels?
There's no doubt that technology has a huge impact. I mean, our brains haven't really evolved to handle this constant influx of information and stimulation.
It can be so overwhelming, and I think the biggest question, maybe the most important one we'll explore in this deep dive, is this. Is it even possible to move away from this idea that anxiety is just the price we pay for progress? That in order to achieve and succeed in the modern world, we just have to accept a certain level of constant anxiety? Like, is that just the deal now?
I don't think it has to be.
Yeah.
But to understand that, we have to dig a little deeper.
Okay, so let's dig in. Let's start with this idea of anxiety as this ancient, fundamental human experience. I mean, we've all felt it.
It's something that unites us all across cultures and across time. It's really fascinating when you look at it from an evolutionary perspective.
Right, because then it's not just in our heads. It's literally in our bodies, in our biology. Our sources talk about how anxiety is totally intertwined with our fight or flight response.
The survival mechanism that's been hardwired into us for millennia.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. Our ancestors out there on the savannah, facing real, immediate danger, that surge of adrenaline, that heart pounding, that feeling of alertness that was keeping them alive.
To that old brain, the reptilian brain, kicking in. And it served a vital purpose.
Right. It wasn't some mistake. It was actually a superpower. Like the people who were maybe a little more on edge, a little more sensitive to potential threats,